Hello people, welcome back to It's Kayla, I guess. I'm Kayla, and today I'm going to be talking about the 2015 American Girl movie called Grace Stirs Up Success, starring Olivia Rodrigo. I believe this was her debut film. I've never actually been, like, a fan. She's fine, like, I don't mind, but, like, I've never been a fan. When she got famous, I was like, I know I've seen that girl somewhere, and then finally it hit me, and she was in my favorite movie as a child. So even though I'm not a current fan, I've still known her way longer than all y'all have. But anyway, my dad picked up this movie probably at, like, Redbox, and I was obsessed with it because as a kid, I wanted to own a bakery, which is really ironic because most of my stuff was, like, boxed mixes. I don't know why I wanted to own a bakery, but I did, and he saw this and he was like, oh my gosh, Kayla would be super into that, and I was. So anyway, I decided to rewatch it and do a whole video on it because man, is it cringy. I also need to preface by saying I've never actually been, like, into American Girl. I've seen, what's her, Sage, like, paints the sky maybe or something, I don't know. The one with Sage, and she's a painter. I didn't read any of the books. I didn't have any of the dolls. I don't know anything about it. So we start with our titular character, Grace, Olivia Rodrigo. She wakes up super early. She's making a whole to-do list of all the stuff that she needs to do, even though she's like 11. It's summer. You don't need to be worrying about that yet, girl. Like, trust me, live your childhood and worry about that when you get there. Then Grace heads to her grandparents' bakery to get breakfast for her whole family, to make it herself, because homegirl wakes up so early that I guess she beats everyone else to it. This bakery is honestly so cute. It's a little bit, I don't want to say drab, because it's a style. It's really cute, but it's very, like, mellow, but in a really cute way. Their bakery is what Gen Z gets upset with millennials for painting over with beige. You know what I mean? It's, like, perfect. It's classic. One of the biggest issues with this bakery is the oven is acting up all the dang time. It'll start, like, shaking around. It looks like it's sentient and possessed and, like, wants to escape. And they have to go over and bop it to get it to stop. And then at one point, Grace goes and hip checks it because she's quirky. She's not like other girls.
Are you a baking whiz between the ages of 8 and 12? Well, MasterChef Junior Baking Edition is looking for you. We're now accepting recipe submissions for our 2015 competition. Do you have what it takes to be a MasterChef?
You should be on that show. You are one of the best bakers I know.
You're just saying that because you're my grandma.
No, I'm saying it because it's true. And because I'm your grandmother.
She's familiar with this bakery, okay? She goes over all the time, and it's very special to her. She brings back the breakfast that she made to her parents, and she starts like, oh my gosh, you guys are the best. And they're like, what do you want?
You guys deserve fresh baked scones. Have I ever told you that you're the best parents in the world?
Okay. What's up?
She's like, I want a new bike because there's a bike race at the end of the summer and I need a new bike because mine sucks. They're like, well, you're gonna have to figure it out on your own then. Her idea to raise money for the bike is to start her own bake stand. So she goes over, she asks her grandparents if she can use their bakery. They're like, yeah, girl, duh, of course. And then out of nowhere, grandma pulls out the phone and just holds it up to her face and is like, so Grace, why do you want to own this bakery one day? She gives a really eloquent answer, like right on the spot, actually.
I guess it's my dream. I love baking more than anything else. It's like when I'm baking, time just stops, and I'm casting some kind of spell.
After she checks with her grandparents, she goes over to her friend's place and checks with them, and they're like, yeah, that sounds cool, but we don't know how to bake, and we should just do dog washing and walking and grooming and everything. And she's like, no, you guys have to follow the recipe exactly. Well, girl, yeah, they're probably gonna follow the recipe exactly if they don't know how to bake. Girls are squealing around in the bakery. She's like, oh my gosh, don't want to scare away the customers. And her grandpa's like, well, there's no customers to scare away, which becomes important later, so hold on to that. They have a great first day selling cupcakes, and they do this whole classic Disney Channel thing where she's like, this is gonna be awesome, and their mom's like, we have plans.
We're gonna have our new bikes in no time. Nothing can stop us now. Paris? What do you mean we're spending the summer in Paris?
Grace is pissed because she wants to spend the entire summer selling cupcakes and making money. She had plans with her friends. Like, I kind of get that, but also they're literally going to Paris, dude. I would drop anything in a heartbeat to go to Paris. I know what people say about Paris. Okay, I know that people say it's dirty and unimpressive and it's just better in pictures, but I don't care. I've wanted to go to Paris since I was like old enough to think. Anyway, she doesn't want to go to Paris though. I honestly don't know why she has to. I assume that her mom probably already bought her the plane ticket and everything. So she's like, well, you can't back out now because she just assumed, well, you're going to love this. But at the same time, like if she didn't already buy the plane ticket and everything, I don't understand why Grace just couldn't stay home, because they're going to Paris to help her Aunt Sophie, her mom's sister, with the baby. Her and her husband own a bakery together, but she's pregnant. They just need extra help, basically. So she goes to tell her friends. He's like, sorry guys, I won't be able to do this thing. And they're like, oh my gosh, well now we can do dog walking and everything, which honestly that's offensive. I will be real hurt if I heard that. But then Grace is like, but how are you guys gonna do that without me, because I'm the organized one who does all the research. And that would also offend me. Like, basically, you guys won't be able to make this succeed at all if I'm not around. And they're like, what the crap? And so they kind of leave on a sour note. Grace gets over herself. She gets to Paris. She's excited. She meets her new uncle and new cousin. Her uncle has been previously married and has a kid named Sylvie. So that's her step cousin. They've never met before.
I think you two will have a lot of fun this summer.
Bonjour. Bonjour, Grace.
Je suis heureuse de vous rencontrer.
I think you're trying to say that you're happy to meet her, no?
Yes.
Why? What did I say?
You said that you're screaming to meet her.
Sylvie is honestly what I think a lot of American people are trying to describe when they describe French people. Grace is staying in Sylvie's room, which, first of all, homegirl has 2 queen beds, but she gets in and she's unpacking all of her crap, throwing it everywhere, dropping her shoes on the floor, and Sylvie looks pissed. She tries to talk to Sylvie and she says something in French. She says, I don't understand. So Grace is like, oh, okay, this is gonna be a great trip. There's also this like random band for cinematic purposes. They pop up wherever she is. It's like a kind of a side plot, but like also not really. I just don't even know what's up with the band at this point. Grace and her mom go to find her Uncle Bernard's bakery, and they meet this little French bulldog on the way, and that'll be important later. And they walk into the bakery, and it's magical. Like, this is what I wanted my bakery to be. Grace goes back to the kitchen to try and help Sylvie and this other employee named Colette. Colette is an interesting character. I guess the actress forgot that she was French half the time, so she'll speak with an American accent, and then after a few seconds switch back to French.
Oh, nice to meet you, Grace. I'm Colette, Bernard's pastry intern.
Grace starts trying to bake something, and Colette's like, oh, well, he's really particular about how he likes things done in the kitchen, so let me come over and help you. And Grace is like, no, I got it. So she makes a pineapple upside down cake. Bernard comes and tries it, and he's like, yeah, dude, it sucks. Like, this is why I didn't want you to bake. Then Grace is like, okay, well, let me help with something else then. And she conveniently puts her hand down on like this baking sheet that was half hanging off of the table that had a pie on it, and she flips it right into his face.
What if I help roll out the pie crystal instead? I mean, it's easy as pie.
Her and her mom go out, and this band shows up again, tailing them around Paris, I guess. I don't know. This part makes me laugh so hard. I don't know why. It's so funny to me. They're walking back to the apartment, the penthouse where they live. She's like, things are really starting to look up. Girl, it's been one bad day. I know that she had a hard time with her friends and everything before this, but still, like, there's no need to be that dramatic, okay? She gets back, she calls her friends, and they're literally video calling her while they are washing the dog for their business. First of all, don't do that. That is not a good business strategy. Second, was there not any other time you could call? Because third, it looks like they're at the exact same time of day, the middle of the day, early evening for Grace or something. It looks like it's a couple hours difference for them. There's also a running theme throughout the movie that Sylvie keeps asking to spend time with her dad, and he's like, nah, I'm too busy, girl, sorry. That will also be important later. Her Aunt Sophie asks Grace if she's getting along with Sylvie okay, and she's like, well, yeah, but it's hard because she doesn't speak any English. And she's like, this girl has been studying English in school. She totally speaks English. So Grace runs in, and she's like, oh my gosh, Sylvie, your dad won €1 million in the lottery. And she goes, well, what are you talking about, in English? Which I don't know why she just wouldn't do that in French, because that is her first language.
Sylvie, come quick. Your dad just won €1 million in the lottery.
What are you talking about?
Aha! You totally speak English.
Then Sylvie freaks out on her, and she's like, you're a freaking mess, which is also really weird. It feels like it came out of nowhere because Grace is super organized. Her room seemed clean and everything. So I'm like, that came out of nowhere just so they could give them a conflict. Grace goes back to the bakery and her Uncle Bernard giving out samples outside of the thing. And then he sees this very prestigious hotel owner, which is also another character that I think that Americans think of when they think of French people. You know what I mean? Really particular, really pretentious.
Just a moment, Grace. Excuse me. You see that man? His name is Jean-Luc Pernaut. He runs that hotel, one of the best in the city.
Anyway, he's like, it's my dream to bake for him. And that also comes back up later, okay? So Grace goes back to the kitchen. She's like, let me help you bake. And Sylvie and Colette are like, you better not. And also shut the frick up because we're baking a souffle and it's going to collapse if you're too loud. That doesn't happen. It's a myth. I don't know why they would put that. It was for the plot. It was for the plot. There's this whole scene where Grace screws up. Something else falls down. Then she slips on something. Then another guy slips on something. And it's like this whole Disney Channel thing. It's super loud. And Bernard comes in and he's like, what the crap is going on? And then he gets flour poured on him and then another pie to the face, which is really convenient if you ask me, but I don't know, I've never been in a bakery. And then they go and check the souffle and it's like, so that's done for. Then her mom's like, girl, you need to stop trying to intrude. She says it nicer, but she's like, you need to stop trying to do this and do what he tells you to. So she just is taking out garbages, cleaning up, packaging things, refilling napkin holders. And then she also watches the other bakers to learn how they do it. This girl, oh my goodness, she wastes so many eggs trying to crack them the right way. I feel like the way you crack an egg doesn't actually really matter that much. In this economy, okay, I guess this was 2015, but still. I feel like there are other things you could be focusing on. And then Sophie, the aunt, is like, I'm gonna take you guys to the Eiffel Tower because I promised Grace that I would. Her water breaks on top of the Eiffel Tower.
The baby and my wife are having the husband. I mean, I am the baby and my wife is having a husband. No, I am the husband and my wife is having a baby.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Grace and Sylvie fall asleep in the hospital waiting room. Their mom comes to wake them up and she's like, the baby's here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm never having kids. But if I did, that's the kind of quick labor that I hope for. First night they bring the baby home, it screams all night. In the morning, Grace leaves some of her books on this side table. And I don't know why Sylvie's so pissed about this, but they just got the baby to sleep. She leaves her books there, and Sylvie just goes and like whaps him on the floor.
Sylvie, you woke the baby. Sylvie. Sylvie.
It was me. I was so tired I bumped into Sylvie and I made her drop her book.
Oh my God, bro.
I'm sorry.
Grace runs in to save the day and she's like, I did that. I was so tired that I bumped into Sylvie and I made her drop the book. It was me. It was my fault. Like, homegirl is so dramatic. Anyway, so Sylvie walks in and she's like, why would you do that for me? I haven't been very nice. And then she explains, well, I haven't been very nice because it's stressful and I like don't get to spend time with my dad anymore. And also my mom died a few years ago. And so yeah, like obviously that's hard. So they have a little bonding moment over that and they're best friends now. Then Grace and Sylvie are hanging out and they're like, how do we help Sylvie's dad, Uncle Bernard? Then they see this hotel guy and they're like, I have a great idea. So they try and take some of his macaroons in. So the guy at the front desk is like, absolutely not. He's super busy. And so then they have this whole scheme to give him these macarons. And they're like honestly super noisy about it. And then they also dressed up in detective costumes, like with the trench coat and sunglasses. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's gonna work. You think he's not gonna notice you sneaking around like that? That's so suspicious.
I'm right behind you, aren't I?
You remember the dog from earlier? They tie a little packet of macarons around the dog's neck and they send it over into the hotel to run up all the way up to the office and give it to the the dude, the hotel guy. I just have a few questions for this dog. I just want to know if he understands English, or I guess French, perfectly well enough to know exactly where his office was. I want to know if he was like actually a retired police dog. They were like, here, sniff this and go find him, and he was able to do that. I kind of have this headcanon that the dog, they were like talking to the dog and it's like, do you understand? And he was like, yeah, but no one's never gonna believe you. And then he ran up and like did that. Bernard gets a call from hotel guy, and he wants Bernard to sell his macarons at Bastille Day, which is like French 4th of July, I guess is how they describe it. He's like, if your macarons are good enough, then we'll sell them at my hotel. Bernard is freaking out about it, obviously, because it's stressful, exciting, but also that's kind of crazy. I know they were trying to help, but I'm like, this is really the best thing that you could think of? Do you really think he wants all this stress? And do you think now is the best time? Literally the day after he has a baby, you think now is the best time to get him this new deal with the most prestigious guy in town? Like, really? Let's be so honest. But he's excited about it. He's like, I'm actually not mad at you guys. You guys didn't screw up this time. Then they have this whole outing where they're like, well, we have to find the perfect little something extra for these macarons. And they go out and they try candied violets or whatever, and there's some vanilla, I don't even know what it is. He teaches Grace about the je ne sais quoi, which is I do not know what. Also important for later. So they go back to the kitchen. It's the day before the event, and Grace is yawning and they're all tired, and he's like, oh my gosh, I've been working you guys too hard. You guys have been working all day, which is the other weird thing about this movie is it's literally never nighttime. It still looks like the middle of the day. Like, I really don't know how hard or how long you guys have been working, but it doesn't look like it's that bad. So to lighten up the mood, they put on a song and they're all like tapping the pans to the beat. I just hate scenes like that in movies. I'm sorry. Grace has a moment with Bernard where they're like packaging up food or whatever. She's like, yeah, being in the bakery has been awesome. It's almost like a family and everyone has their role, but sometimes it can get confusing though. This is Grace's way of like dropping the hint and saying, you need to spend more time with your daughter. So the next morning he's like, hey, let's go help prepare, just you and me, Sylvie, and then we're gonna go get hot chocolate at our favorite place like we used to, and it's kind of cute. So they're at the event. Hotel guy comes to try his macarons and he's like, these are great. I'm noticing while editing this, and I don't know why I'm just barely noticing it, is that the editing in this movie is so bad. Like, they cannot stay on one shot for more than 3 seconds. It's giving Cocomelon. It's so choppy. Just take a look at this scene. It's especially bad here.
I see that my friends are right. They are quite happy with your desserts. In fact, many have asked me why we do not serve them in my hotel.
Really? Is that right?
And so I've decided that we should.
Wow,
That is, if you can deliver my orders on time and at the exact level of quality I demand.
And he has the deal. And then he's like, you girls did that for me. That's crazy. Thanks so much. And again, I'm like, did you really want all that extra stress in your life right now, though? Could they have waited a couple of weeks? And Sylvia's like, it was all Grace. Okay, well, you need to accept a little bit of credit for this, too. Like, you helped. So literally the very next scene is them leaving Paris, and they're all, like, friends now, and it's been a great time. So Grace is visiting her friends. They're telling her about the business. And side note, I'm pretty sure at the beginning they were saying dog walking with a K, walking dogs, like around the block or whatever. And then halfway through, the producers were like, oh crap, what business were they gonna do? Was it walking or washing? And so they changed it to dog washing. Anyway, they're telling Grace about their business, and she was like, wow, like it sounds like you guys had a really successful business. And she doesn't say it in a mean way. She says it in like kind of a sad, like, I can't believe I wasn't there way. I would have loved to be there.
Wow. Sounds like you guys really made the pasta a success.
Surprise?
No. It's just, well, now that I'm home, that I'd love to help. Why don't I come over tomorrow and you can show me your business plan? I learned a ton about advertising from my Uncle Bernard, and I have a million ideas we could use. First, we have to get the flyers.
Wait a minute. You don't want to help.
And she's not saying it in a mean way. She's just like, hey, I would love to be involved now that I'm back. I have some ideas. And they're like, You didn't think we could do it, did you? She never said that. She said that at the beginning, but she's had character development now. They have a whole fight, and then Grace goes home. She's already sad. She's already depressed. And then she hears her parents talking about how her grandparents' bakery is gonna shut down because they're behind on mortgage payments because it's been so slow. So she's just having a day, right? But she goes over and she takes probably like $20 in like coins and a couple bills. And she's like, here you guys go. I want you to use it for the business. At your age, I feel like you understand a little bit more since you were trying to start your own business at the beginning of the summer. You wanted a bike and everything. I would think that you would know that it's not gonna, that's not gonna cover it. Like, oh my gosh. Then she meets back up with her friends to apologize to them. Okay, maybe the writers were trying to go for like, she does a little bit more character development, but she didn't say it in a mean way. Like, to me, I always thought, well, she's just genuinely trying to be helpful. Anyway, her friends apologize to you. They're besties again. And now she's like, I need your guys' help with my grandparents' bakery because it's going to shut down. And they go and like revamp the entire thing. I don't even know how to describe it. You know that, what was it called? Decorating Sense? I think that 90s show that went viral a few months ago, probably like a year ago by the time I actually like get this video out. That Decorating Sense show where they just make the wildest choices for everything. They ruined it. Okay, so I just went back and watched the clip, and it's actually not like that bad, but there's a lot of blue. It's very 2010s coded. I do think they ruined the simplicity quite a bit, but it's not quite as bad as Decorating Sense, okay? Except for that Eiffel Tower on the wall. That's pretty bad. They have quite a few new customers. They think that they're going to be okay, and then the oven busts, and then the oven bricks itself. Obviously, the oven is kind of really freaking important when you bake. And they're like, well, I don't know how we're going to be able to afford a new oven now on top of all of this. We were barely making enough to cover the mortgage. We don't have to shut down. But now the oven, Grace obviously can't sleep that night. She gets up a little bit early and she decides to check her email. And she sees an email from MasterChef. You've been accepted. You had a great submission. And she's like, what the heck? I never submitted anything. And then there's a video attached to the email. And it's a video that her grandma randomly started taking of her all the way at the very beginning. And she submitted that to MasterChef without telling her. I feel like that's something that you probably want to run by her. Clearly she got accepted. Like, don't you think she'd like to know in advance? She's like, if I win, I'm going to be able to get enough money to buy them a new oven and the bakery will be saved. She gets on the show and they actually brought on the real host or one of the judges or someone, I don't know, but it's a real guy, okay? And one of the kids competing with her is one of those kids, you know, like he's a pretentious little hipster. His dad is also a really famous baker or something, and he's like, I'm gonna win, and he always has a stupid smirk on his face. For the very first competition, she sees a nice juicy pineapple and she's like, pineapple upside down cake, and she whispers it all dramatically, and he hears it and he looks over and he's like, I gotta have that pineapple. And I don't even know what he baked in the end. I don't know if it actually used pineapple, but he went and grabbed that pineapple literally just so she couldn't use it. I would have just beat him up right then if I'm being so honest. I wouldn't, but I would have really liked to. This part is filmed like it's actually the show, and so they're doing these random shaky zoom outs on the camera, unsteady pans. It's actually so funny. And they keep doing this whole fake out thing where he presents it and he just like leans over the table and he's like, I'm sorry, but that just qualified you. It's like, oh my gosh, girl, okay.
I'm sorry, young lady, but that tarte tatin just qualified you for the last spot in the final challenge. Congratulations, Grace. Well done.
For the final challenge, you have like all these regular ingredients and then you have to pick one of these crazy ones from this table. And Grace goes up to the table and she almost grabs this like balsamic vinegar, because I think, oh, that's what her uncle used when he taught her about the je ne sais quoi. He grabbed balsamic vinegar. I know this is so random, but y'all have to understand, this is frying me. Her little chuckle at the end, she's like, the balsamic vinegar.
Macaroons with balsamic vinegar.
I don't know. I didn't notice it before, but it's so funny. And she reaches out to grab it, and then she sees her charm from France that Sylvie gave her, and she's like, I can't do this. She takes a longer look at the table, and she's just standing there, and all these kids are long gone, and the judge comes over, and he's like, is everything okay? And she's like, I found it. I found my je ne sais quoi.
Grace, what do you pick?
I choose the je ne sais quoi.
Where to?
Home. I'm going home.
This next part is actually crazy because she starts baking and she's obviously stressing out because it's the final like competition, the final round. She pulls out her phone and some headphones, and they're wired headphones, by the way, because it's 2015. It was 10 years ago, which is crazy. Honestly, it might be 11 by the time I actually get this video out. Pulls out her phone with wired earbuds and she puts both of them in, and then she just starts dancing. I'm like, okay, first of all, how were you allowed to have a phone? How did they not immediately clock that and take it away? And also, she starts dancing and twirling around.
Ooh, you gotta follow every dream, soaring high, places no one's ever seen, and you will fly, show the world just who you are, a shining star, up and away, 'cause who you're meant to be is right inside, yeah, you just gotta believe, and you will shine, show the world just who you are.
On national television, girl, are you insane? And all the other kids are giving her weird looks too. If this was real, this would have gone viral, like so viral. And this is one of those things that would have come up like every few years on TikTok. So this other kid that she's competing with has just been smirking the whole time. This little mother trucker goes up and he presents an amazing dish and they're like, oh my gosh, that's gonna be hard to beat. And then she walks up and she brings this entire macaron cake. And she put the violets on it because the violets were part of the decoration of the table. And they just said, use anything on the table. And the violets were the decoration. But she was like, well, I candied them. And now they're on my cake. What are you going to do about it? And the judges are like, that's really good. And then there's this like really long build up when they're about to announce the winner. And they're like, the winner is. And it shows everyone going, Grace, Grace, Grace.
The winner of the title of America's Best Junior Pastry Chef. The recipient of the most coveted MasterChef trophy is
obviously it's frickin' Grace. Obviously. They have a little tea party, garden party out in the front yard, and they're like, so what do you want to do with your winnings? No, I'm just gonna save the bakery. I don't even want a new bike. Well, is there anything else that you want to do with your winnings? And she's like, well, I'd fly Sylvie out here so she can see America. And I'm like, girl, you don't want to come to America. Well, what would you say to Sylvie if she was here? And she's like, well, I'd tell her that I had fun and that I miss her. And then Sylvie pops up behind her and she's like, she'd say she missed you too. And so they're all here. And they brought the dog. And so yeah, that's it. She saves the bakery. And that's it. One last thing. That band that was like tailing her in Paris basically and just happened to show up wherever she was, they are now in America. The last scene is she's doing some sales, like some samples outside of her grandparents' bakery, and she looks over and they're just right there. And I'm like, I would have called the cops at that point, honestly. This movie is cringy as crap. And my brother noticed it way before I did, bless his heart. I still really liked it, and it still has a very special place in my heart because it was my absolute favorite for the longest time, and it gave me visions of what I wanted my bakery to be. So I can still appreciate it. And now I can say that I was a fan of this Olivia Rodrigo movie before she was cool. And also I just want you guys to take a look at my earrings. Look, they're macarons. They're purple because of the cake that she baked at the end. It was purple, and so I picked the purple ones. Definitely not because I couldn't find the pink ones that actually matched perfectly with this shirt. But anyway, that's Grace Stirs Up Success. I wish French people were real.
I think I know more about American Girl than you do,
You never
genius.
get any